So we're going to do it's after lunch. And that was a really good lunch from Homemades by Suzanne, which is a place I ate at when I was at Randolph-Macon College. So everything is kind of coming together today. Can you all hear me? Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to scream either, if I don't have to. So we're going to do a little stand up, sit down. So, and I also want to tell you, what happens in this room stays in this room, okay? Because we are all educators. We are all educators, and I'm here to learn from you, and then I'm hoping you can learn something from me, but I'm not sure. So the first thing I want you to do is stand up if you think politics is a good thing. Oh, Uncle Larry will be so proud. Okay, now, of those, you can have a seat. The next question. How many of you talk about controversial topics in your classroom? I'm so proud of you. All right, of those of you that are standing, how many of you are encouraged to do so by your administration? Okay. Thank you. You can have a seat. That gave me a lot of information in a very short amount of time. And I'm going to be touching on all of the topics that our previous guests have mentioned: gerrymandering, polarization, lack of civil discourse. So when you were all shouting, "Go Who's," or "Go Tech," or "I don't like that person," you were dissing, okay? So today, what we need to do, so when I asked that question this morning, Virginia is becoming more polarized, what do we do? Well, here's the answer. We have to educate students to show up at primaries and to pay attention so that we can take the center back, and so that the pendulum doesn't swing so far to the right or to the left, because it does. So if you're happy now, you may be unhappy later, and vice versa. All right? So we're going to take the diss out of civil discourse. And I haven't come up with the rap yet, but I'm going to have a rap at some point that I can perform for you. I'm going to call it, I'm down with DCC, Discourse, Debate, and Compromise. But I haven't had time because I'm kind of busy. Last year I was interviewed by the USA Today in January about what am I going to do after the election. And I said, well, I've already been doing it for a couple of years. And this is what I've been doing. Now, I only show you this because you are adults, which is why I told you what happens in here stays here. Yes, I am not stupid enough to use it with children. But when I saw this cartoon, I almost fell off my seat because I absolutely hate these terms, obviously. I hate them. And I think this cartoon, in a very simple way, kind of illustrates our problem. These people and these people are controlling the conversation, and they're controlling the agenda. And the reason why? They show up, and they are loud. The rest of us in the middle, the 80% of the American public, who's telling them to shut up. But notice we're not telling them, are we? What's going on? We're thinking it. We're not doing something about it. So this whole 30 minutes that I have with you is to show you what you can do with your students so that they will say something and do something and take back that middle, okay? And they're idiots, right? That's also funny. Okay, so, that's how I start with students with political cartoons. So, your students are coming in the room, and they're like this, "Oh, Mrs. Heubeck." And I'm like, that is so funny. God, that is so funny. Why are you not laughing? It does take a little bit of acting, right, to get your kids into cartoons. So why is this funny? Someone tell me. Well, one, there's no TV in 1861. Yes, and there would be a student that would say that. The media is blamed for everything. And what's the media here? The extremes, right? So who started the American Civil War? Fox and MSNBC. Yes, so this cartoon can be great for getting into fake news, alternative facts, media bias, which is something I'm going to touch on. So all of these things are things that your students have been seeing. They may not know how to interpret this, but I work at the Youth Leadership Initiative, where things are free and easy. You've heard me say it. I'm the free and easy lady. But don't let that get around. So we have lesson plans first on interpreting political cartoons, which are free and easy on our website. Okay, now here is why this is so important. Some of you may have seen this, but it is absolutely my favorite minute.
This is the Fact Zone. I'm Brooke Alvarez. Our top story tonight, Congress has passed a bill naming incomprehensible shouting the official language of the United States. After attracting the attention of several leaders in Washington last year, the initiative's political supporters argued for months that the nation should formally recognize incomprehensible shouting as the only truly American way to communicate.
I'm sick and tired of listening to people who say that Americans should not know what to know, and that's not what it is, what the policy is. The red-blooded American is what we have in this day and age.
But opponents say the legislation is unnecessary.
Everyone already knows that if you live in America, you have to know how to scream and holler while making absolutely no sense at all. This is just cheap political point scoring, and it's blatantly unfair to those who have come to our country from level-headed, polite societies.
The movement started in 2008 with a grassroots organization called Americans for Doing It Right because we gotta know, because who else, right? Come on! Under the new law, public school classes will only be taught in incomprehensible shouting, and government agencies will no longer offer translators to non-shouting speakers. In addition, a new test will be added to the naturalization process, whereby potential immigrants must prove they have a working knowledge of incomprehensible shouting before they're granted citizenship.
I do export-import, and many of my clients, they are American. I have to learn to say things like, "Shut up! Shut your goddamn mouth! Let me finish!" And, "Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh!"
The legislation still faces a potential veto from President Obama, who favors naming dulcet tones as the national language.
So that's just a little bit of fun. This is The Onion. You can look it up on their website. It might be a great way to introduce this topic. But really, this is kind of where it's silly, right? It's kind of like the political cartoon. Ha, 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 it's funny. But there's a kernel of truth to it, which is really in the last election cycle, you saw a lot of shouting and yelling and people that are really angry. And we need our students to know how to deal with this, and it's really hard for them. So when I was in the USA Today last year, I got lots of stuff in the mail. I got good stuff, like this poster. I got a little bit of weird stuff, like manifestos and letters to help people get out of jail. It was pretty exciting. So people are really invested. I think after last year's election, a lot of people are thinking about, and you saw it in last Tuesday's elections, people are thinking about what our country is all about and what it stands for. So this gentleman, who is also from Baltimore like myself, sent me this poster. It's a beautiful, it hangs in my office and it inspires me to keep on going. Now, David Poole from the Virginia Public Access Project is here. Everyone has mentioned him today. They are the rock stars of Virginia politics in my account because he creates pictures that show what is going on in Virginia. I'm going to show you my favorites. So the first one that I'm going to show you is, this doesn't have noise, so you'll be able to see it. So this is a graphic that is showing the difference between the areas where there is at least a 40-point spread between Democrats and Republicans. So if it went 40 points up to Republicans, it's red, and the vice versa, blue. So this, you can see how it changed between those 4 years in the governor's races. So a lot of people talked about that, but I love this picture. And I think your students can really, it grabs you. It's interesting. And then the other one, this one's not as fun. It doesn't move around. But, it's going to load. Okay, takes a second, thank you. So here we have, and this is, you've already seen this before, but I would say to you that the Virginia Public Access Project, it's free, it's easy, so David is also free and easy if you want to know the truth. I'm sorry, David. That's probably harassing. I should probably not do that. Anyway, so, I know. So there are great resources on there, plenty of great visuals that you can use in your classroom with your students. And I can't speak highly enough about where I get a lot of information from them. So you know the story. But here's what I care about. I care about our students. I care about the fact that they are really feeling a lot of angst as a result of all this yelling and screaming and its incivility. So these quotes and the stats I'm going to talk to are from a Southern Poverty Law Center survey right after the election of over 10,000 teachers from all over the country. And they kind of wrote in about things that they saw in their students. In this one, there's a lack of trust in the school right now. Many students are unclear as to how to talk to each other. If that's a problem for you, would you put your hands up in the air if students don't know how to talk to each other? Okay, so see, it's a real problem. So that's what I'm here to help you do. I'm right down the road in Charlottesville, so call me if you need help. The first thing I'm going to talk to you about is media literacy. I just revised a lesson plan for our site. It's called Bias in the Media. I revised it to include social media, blogs, something else. I can't remember off the top of my head. But these are the skills that students are going to need to deal with things like alternative facts or opinions. How many of your students are competent in determining opinion from fact? How many think they need help at it? Yeah. We have plenty of materials for you to do that. And I think that is one of the most important skills. I often say that if we are going to better our country, we have got to start with the young people and work our way up. It has to be a bottom-up approach. It cannot be a top-down approach. The people at the top, in some cases older people like myself, or people who are in power, they don't have the incentive to do anything about it. It's up to us. This is our government. So students should feel like it is their government that they're inheriting, and they need to have these skills. Now, you are the social studies teachers, correct? It is not limited to social studies. And you can tell them I told you so. Everyone teaches civics. If you're teaching science, can you incorporate these skills into your class? Math, yes. English, yes. Art, yes. Music, yes. And perhaps phys ed. So nobody should not be on this train. And as social studies has taken a back seat to STEM, you all sitting here have to be the leaders. We have got to get these skills into the hands of our kids. I have free stuff. I will help you to do whatever you need. But it is imperative that they come away with these skills. The cyberbullying issue, very scary. I hate to be a bummer. I'm being a bummer today because it's so important that we need to do this. I actually had this piece of paper in my hand. It is from the town where I live. It was found on the windshield of a car. It is serious. If we don't get our students talking civilly to one another, these are the kind of things that are going to really start being more and more popular. And that is sickening to me. So I'm very passionate about it. I don't know if you can tell. So several years ago, I've started working on this program, Talking Turkey, taking the dis out of civil discourse. I've been adding to it each year. I have a team of great students at UVA who have really helped me to create resources for students, parents, teachers, and communities to inform and empower themselves with knowledge to have a civil discourse. And I think the word empowering is really important. So I taught in Baltimore, and a lot of the parents that I worked with were very intimidated by school and really didn't want to have anything to do with school. And I cannot blame them. They either had bad experiences or whatever. So when talking turkey, I really tried to put in steps that help to make everybody feel comfortable and empowered. So one of the things that is, for each topic that we have in talking turkey, and there are some examples outside, there is a list of resources, talking points, and general facts. So the latest one I added was immigration, so that parents can read ahead, because one of the reasons that they may not like, and teachers too, may not want to talk about politics or controversial issues, you may not know about it. Have you ever had that where a student asks you something and you don't know the answer? Right, it's not comforting to you, so it's obviously not going to be comforting to the students or to the parents or to the community, whatever. So we try to help that by providing places where people can find information from on all sides of the issue. And we try to create a safe space. Outside there is a chart with a contract that I would recommend at the beginning of the year you send home with your students and have them sign it, have you sign it, and have their parents sign it. Because it shows exactly what you are doing in the classroom. That way, everyone is on the same page. And it says things like, if someone says something that I don't like, how you should respond. The fact that all sides are values and opinions are valued. And it really shows you how to stay out of the conversation, because you are the facilitator. You're providing the structure for conversations, but you yourself are not in the conversation. And you know why that's important? Why would that be important? Yes! You don't want to be on YouTube, do you? No, nobody wants to be that teacher. And you want to be able to have a conversation where all of your students feel important, where they all feel like their opinion is valued. And that's the number one complaint I hear, is that where I heard from parents is that I don't feel like, when I was a chairman, someone called and said, you know, I don't feel like he values other points of view other than his or herself about teachers. And so that's where these ideas come from. How you can set up your classroom so that every day when students come in, they know what to expect. They know they're going to be expected to talk about difficult things, like adults. But they have all the tools to do it. And is this limited to social studies? No, it is not. So please make sure, really, everyone in the school could use this. And commit to talking about global warming, if you believe in it or not. You could talk about the economy. All of these things go beyond social studies. So you're going to have to be the ambassadors of civic discussion in your schools. It's a hard job, but I'm here to support you, because civility costs nothing and buys everything. Do you agree? Yeah, I mean, you can't get anywhere without it. So this is just what we have in there. Some other organizations that I love to promote who work in the area of civility. My new favorite one is this National Institute for Civil Discourse. They have great videos. They have great webinars that you can listen to and use in your classroom, and they have great materials for civil discourse. Of course, We the People at Montpelier, they're here today. I love them. You can take one of their courses. They're excellent for helping you with this. The League of Women Voters, I call them my boots on the ground, because they really get out and promote these kind of things. So here's my final message. It is from a young man. Mommy says, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. Be kind, you get drops in your bucket. I guess that was an incentive. Isn't that cute? Children know this intuitively. Young people know it intuitively. We just have to reinforce it with them. My information is right here. I'm going to leave it up for a minute so that you can write down, because I left my cards on my desk, which I always do. And you can feel free to contact me at any time with any questions. Or I talked to Cindy. Cindy is going to send me pictures of her bumper sticker lesson plan. Yes, you are. I would love pictures. I would love to hear how you use these materials. I would love to hear if they work or don't work and how I might tweak them. Because I am in Charlottesville, and you are in the classroom, and my job is to serve you, all of you. So we can work together. We can teach these skills to students. We can. Who thinks we can? Stand up. Okay, now I want you to put your hand in the air. And we are going to do a chant. I often say that I'm afraid of tattoos, but that I might get one on my face that says discourse, debate, and compromise, so that everyone can see what I mean, what I'm talking. So we're going to cheer discourse, debate, compromise. Discourse, debate, compromise. On 3. You ready? You have to put your fist in the air. 1, 2, 3. Discourse, debate, compromise. Discourse, debate, compromise. Woo! See, I didn't want you to be asleep after lunch. I'm going to leave this up here so you can write things down if you need them. Does anyone have any questions? I just left all my samples and stuff outside, and the Center for Politics provided DVDs, 1 per person. If they run out, or you want more than 1, contact me and I'll send them to you. The PBS gives some to us. They deserve to be in your hands because you can reach the most number of people. So please contact me if you need anything. Questions? Comments? I must have done a really good job.